Welcome to the Better Than Yesterday Everyday Podcast, where we cover anything related to behavior change that will increase your long-term wellness and happiness. And now, here are your hosts, personal trainer and RNs, Matt and Jenna Lane.
Hey, everybody. We are back. I am Matt from MattLaneFitness and this podcast.
And I'm Jenna. I'm Matt's wife.
This podcast is all about implementing behavior change for your long-term happiness and wellness. And as I've told you guys in the beginning, any piece of content that I can bring, in audio, video, whatever, I'm going to do it. And today we have an awesome friend of ours that had some questions. We were hanging out not too long ago and he had questions. And I was like, I want to record this conversation because I know somebody else out there is going to have that same question, I would imagine. And before we dive into it, any review that you leave up until October 16th
of 2019.
Thank you for clarifying. Any review you leave up until October 16th, drop me an email at MattLaneFitness@gmail.com, and then I'm going to send you a free t-shirt. Thank you so much for the review. It is the lifeblood of this podcast. Before we dive into it, we're going to hit you with our gratitude point. And I'm making you go first, Jenna.
I'm prepared this time.
Yeah, okay.
No, I just want to say I'm grateful for new friends. We haven't known Andy too terribly long, and we've developed a really great friendship very quickly. And we met Andy by getting out of our comfort zone and doing something that we wouldn't normally do. We met him at trivia, and we've actually really enjoyed getting out of our comfort zone and learning something new and meeting some new people.
Yeah, and you stole mine.
Haha.
But I'm gonna say that my gratitude point is that I'm proud of us for getting out of our comfort zone, and yeah, it's led to beautiful things such as meeting Andy. So, without further ado, Andy, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me. First of all, I would just like to say I'm very humbled by allowing me to come into your home and be here and be part of this.
Absolutely, man. We're super, super happy to have you. Seriously. And again, like, I want this to flow like a conversation. So whatever questions you may have had, Andy just sort of hit me with the other night. Was it the other night or was it last week? Whatever. He was like, I got a few questions about nutrition. So fire away, good sir.
Well, just to kind of give you a little bit of background of who I am a 47-year-old Asian male, and I have cerebral palsy. So for me, over these last few years especially, my mobility has become somewhat of a real challenge, physically, mentally, just to be able to get around like normal people would. And a lot of people, in my estimation, they probably take for granted. Getting in and out of the bathtub and going into restaurants and things like that, just simple things that a lot of people kind of, oh yeah, hey, why don't you come over here and hang out with us?
Yeah, it's just a normal thing.
Yeah, going to the ballpark or something like that. Going on an airplane, travel. It kind of takes away a lot from being around friends and family, if I want to go and be somewhere, because I've always, for the most part, thought to myself, well, I don't want to be the reason why people aren't having fun. Mm-hmm. And because I'm that kind of person, right. I always try to consider other people that are in the group. And I always try to think to myself, well, maybe I'll just sit this one out. Mm. And that way everybody else will have fun without me. But then I started to realize that I'm missing out on life.
Yes.
And that's not the way I want to be. And I just recently made an acquaintance with a mutual friend of a couple of people from high school, and her name's Tara Blackwell. She is a quadriplegic.
Okay.
And she has opened a new business here in Pensacola, Project 7. It's for adaptive fitness for the disabled.
Really?
Wow.
And
that's awesome.
To me, that is just like the best thing ever.
Yeah, I really want to get her name and like contact information. I'm really interested.
And she has kind of inspired me, along with a couple other people.
That's incredible.
To really try to lean into your challenges in life and to inspire me to go out there and be more vibrant.
I love that.
About this whole lifestyle change of not being able to walk anymore without assistance. And it's been a true inspiration to me to, to try to be like your slogan that I really enjoy, by the way, Matt. Better today.
Better than yesterday.
Better than yesterday. Every day.
Yeah.
And I love that because I think about that a lot. Actually,
That's
when
awesome.
believe it or not, when I'm working out. You know what I'm saying? When I'm going into the gym, that's one of the thoughts that's going through my head.
Yeah.
Try to be better today, every day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just strive to try to be better.
Yeah.
And for a while there, I can honestly tell you that I wasn't my best self.
Why do you think that is?
A couple years ago, when I got to the point where I couldn't walk anymore. I just woke up one morning, couldn't put one foot in front of the other.
So literally 2 years ago.
Exactly.
Okay.
Two years. September of 2017 is when it first happened. I was up in Boston visiting some family, and woke up one morning and I was like, "What in the world? I can't put one foot in front of the other anymore." And I'm like having to hold on to things, and it was just the weirdest feeling. And a couple surgeries later, and still not able to do, being able to walk. But you know what? I've always said to myself, it can always be worse.
Perspective.
And that's kind of helped really pull me through these past 2 years of surgeries and just kind of adjusting myself to not being able to walk anymore physically without assistance of some sort.
Right.
But, I started working out in February at a great gym, open 24/7.
I love
it. So I really enjoy it. The people are so nice to me. They're very courteous. I enjoy the environment. And I used to be very self-conscious about how people would perceive me. Now I'm on a walker, and now I'm really, really conscious. And I remember one time my stepmom, Becky, who I love dearly, she says to me, she goes, "Who cares what other people think?"
Yes.
She used she used a bad word in there as she was saying that, but she literally says, "Who cares what they think?"
Yeah.
And that was kind of a wake-up call to me. They don't live your life, Andy.
Yeah.
They don't walk in your shoes. And the same thing can be said for anyone, what I'm saying? Whether you're struggling physically or mentally. And I'm starting to learn that someone who's mentally challenged has just as many hardships, if not more, than someone who's physically challenged like myself. So I have great empathy for all people with physical elements and mental elements. And I used to not really feel like that. Being around other disabled people would always make me feel a little too conscious and too self-aware and almost embarrassed to be around them sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, believe it or not.
Huh.
But I'm starting to get past that. It's so funny because I met both you and Jenna, luckily, through Holden, Holden is a phenomenal guy.
Shout out to Holden Hardman.
Yes.
Love Holden Hardman.
Most definitely.
Check him out. Check him out on YouTube, guys. He's turned into a dear friend of ours as well.
He really is. He's well-spoken and funny.
He is funny.
And I've always judged myself on a good judge of character. People that I've lived in so many states, several different states in my lifetime, and met a lot of different people and a lot of different cultures. And I've always been able to judge pretty much good people to the core. Integrity, character, people that you want to be around that are going to be a positive influence on your life and not so much a negative influence. And that's what I look for in people. And that's kind of what drew me to Holden. You know what I'm saying? And luckily, and I told this to Holden the other night, I said, man, you've got some of the coolest friends. I'm like literally, and I thought at my age, I said, man, I think I'm too old to make new friends.
No way.
But it's just refreshing. Y'all have kind of given me a breath of fresh air. You know, both you and Jenna and Victoria and Jeremy and Holden and Bree. You know, we're a little bit of age difference, but it makes for a great makeup of conversations and just viewpoints.
Yeah.
And I love that. I really do. So I know I have a tendency to kind of ramble.
No, that's what this is, man. This is a conversation. That's exactly what it wants to be.
But I just wanted the listeners out there to kind of understand I'm not your ordinary person. And that's why, for me, I wanted to contact you. I get a little bit of you dip your toe in the water of, going out and working out. And I'm up to 4 or 5 times a week now, which is, if you would ask me 6 months ago, if I was in the gym, I'd be like, yeah, I went in there like 3 years ago and I worked out and I didn't like it. So to go from something like that to, I'm trying to stop going to the gym as much as I probably should.
That's awesome.
5 days a week. But I'm saying, well, I need to go in there 4 because I'm a little sore and I want to make sure to get a quality workout in.
Yeah.
And I figured, Matt's this great guy that I just met. And he's got a beautiful wife, that she's like super cool. You know what I'm saying? So Matt got really, really lucky somewhere along the line.
You know what I'm saying? Lucky.
Yes, I did.
And I said, man, I really need to get together with Matt and see if I can just use him as a resource.
Absolutely.
To help get my diet, my nutrition more in balance. You kind of dip your toe in the pool of physical fitness and then you start to see results. And you get excited about that. You get I have a very addictive personality. Mm-hmm. So working out has become my new addiction, and it's so funny. I just, I would think never in 1,000 years would I thought I would have said that, I used to work out before, but that was just kind of just hanging out with friends and stuff like that, not taking it real serious.
Okay.
But, part of the main reason I try to go is I want to be able to keep what I have physically, and not lose what I have, And so I figured the best way to do it is to try to strengthen what I still have before I lose it. Okay.
Let me ask you this: Do you think it's mental and physical? And if so, is there like a percentage for each?
What? As far as
so the benefits of the actual physical training, do you feel like it only benefits your body or does it benefit your mind as well?
Gotcha. I'd have to say, for me, when I leave the gym, I feel great. Okay. So mentally, that's a boost right there. It really is. And it's gotten to the point where when I'm getting ready to go to the gym, I really look forward to it. So it puts me in a great mood. Okay. Not that I need to be, something to put me in a great mood all the time. But it's gotten to that point to where that's part of the reason I really love to go is because mentally it has made me a much happier person. Okay.
Now, let me ask you this, and this is getting personal. At any point, if you are uncomfortable, just tell me. But obviously, your abilities have changed in that 2-year time frame. And did you experience any sort of depression? And from that, I guess what I'm trying to say is, did this physical piece, this now exercise, do you think that it's helped you mentally more so than physically? Or do you think it's like 50-50? And I'm honestly wondering.
Well, after when it happened 2 years ago, when I stopped being able to walk, there was a time period where it was more worrisome than any kind of depression. Okay. And then when we determined that we were going to have to go to Gainesville to Shands, which is a phenomenal place to get any kind of surgeries done. Yeah, it is. They treat you like family there. I can honestly tell you that from experience. It was more nervousness, But then after the surgeries, I had to have 2 different surgeries at 2 different times. I can honestly tell you there was a time where I just was like, this is awful. And I probably am not, it's probably going to be really bad from here on out. I wasn't optimistic as far as my future goes right after the surgeries, because I think it was maybe some medication that I've been on, because they had me on a lot of medications, but they had me constantly hooked up to IVs, and they were always kind of telling me that I couldn't drive and I couldn't be doing this and that and the other. So I kind of, it was very depressing news, well, Andy, you can't walk, and now you may not be able to drive. So, but it took me a while, but with the help of, I have some really good friends and a really good stepmother, and my mother up in Boston and my sister. They really pulled together, and they really, did everything they could physically, mentally, to make sure that I was going to be all right. And that's the key for anyone, I think, in life. If you're having a hard time, it's always great to have that support system of family and friends and people that truly care about your well-being, that are going to be there for you.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
To me, that's the definition of friendship.
Yeah.
It really is. Because you can sit there and talk about, oh, this, that, and the other, and they have money and they don't have money, or this. But when it all boils down to it, it's the people that are there for you when you need them the most.
Yeah.
Without question.
Through the dark times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those are your true friends.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And I have that. And I'm very grateful and very fortunate to have that in my life. But my father, who passed away in 2016, he was a big influence on me too, even as a child. He was a military man, retired, and so he, instead of when I would fall, because I, had CP, if I would fall, and he wouldn't just pick me up and dust me off and say, oh, poor Andy. He would pick me up and dust me off and say, Andy, you can do it. Mm. So even at a very young age, I had that instilled in me as a young child, that even though people say that you can't do it, he said that I can do it. Mm-hmm. So that has always been kind of instilled in me. Okay. And then with the support system, that's, so to answer your question, honestly, I'd have to say working out is 50% mental for me. Okay. And 50% physical. Okay. And it drives me more so physically because I want to maintain what I have. Okay. And I know it's not much, but I'll take what I can get. Yeah. Physically. Yeah. And I'm not going to complain about it because, in life, things can be so much worse. Mm-hmm. And I'm just grateful for what I do have.
Perspective, man. I love it. That's probably the biggest thing that I've learned from you is perspective. I mean, that's beautiful to be able to do that. I honestly, because I've never been in your shoes, I don't know. I don't know how I would deal with it. So I commend you. I commend you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, tell me, let's dive into this nutrition. Like anything that you're wondering about.
Well, like I said, trying to get, when you feel the physical side of it getting better and you're starting to feel better physically, the hardest step for me was to get my nutrition in order, mm-hmm. which I can honestly tell you, I do not cook, and I haven't tried to cook in probably 25 years. Okay. So I eat out a lot, and a lot of that eating out is not the healthy kind of eating out. Okay. So I do have a tendency to eat too much sugar, too much starchy foods, things mm-hmm. like that. Okay. And I said, well, maybe Matt can help me just adjust my habits of eating, what I eat. I'm not looking to change everything overnight because I'm not that kind of guy. Yeah. If I start out with something slow and I start to see results, I'm the type of person that's what drives me to want more. Yeah. I'm not the kind of guy that you can't say to me, Matt, tomorrow, you can't say, you can't drink another soda. and you can't drink any sweet tea from here on out.
Yeah.
That's not going to work for me, sir.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, and there was a time that I thought there was a time when I thought that it was sort of a one size fits all, and that everybody just sort of needs to start off slow. But through working with clients, I have found that there are two different types of people. There are people like you and myself that need to start off slow. And I think that a majority of people are this. You need to take one step at a time. Be very clear and defined in what your goals are and take it one step at a time. The other person, they are usually type A, very alpha, very organized, very usually more rigid. And it's not wrong. It's just who they are and how they adapt to things. They tackle numerous things at once and they do well with it. Mm-hmm. So there are two different types, I believe, now.
And I think most of us fall in the category of us three, where you need slow, sustainable changes, or else you're not going to stick to it.
Absolutely.
I 100% agree with that.
So I think if the question is, it sounds like you're saying, like, where do you start? If you're just looking for a first step, I would tell you to define what it is that you want. And again, it seems like you've already defined that you just want to start eating healthier. Yes,
that would be a great and I think worthwhile change in my lifestyle.
Okay.
And what's the old saying? The first part of like getting to your goals is realizing that you have a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and it's the truth. It's the truth. Without some sort of, roadmap to where you're going, you got no idea where you're going.
Well, and eating healthier doesn't mean you can't have sweet tea, or
Absolutely.
You can't have a soda, or you can't eat what you want. It's just in moderation.
It truly is. So it's when it comes to, fat loss and muscle gain and all that ultimately boils down to calories, the balance, and, muscle and blah, blah, blah. It's all about your macro split. But when it comes to just eating healthier, I truly believe that it sounds like with you have a lot of habits that I think they can be broken. So what's something right now that you consider unhealthy that you eat or drink on maybe a daily basis?
Well, I drink way too much sweet tea. I mean, and we're talking, I think when we were out at trivia just last night, mm-hmm. I can honestly tell you I probably drank 3 or 4 glasses of sweet tea, and not even because that's just what I drink.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'll go to the local sports bar, watch a sporting event of some sort, and usually I end up getting chicken wings.
Right.
Or something with a lot of, like, we had nachos last night.
Mm-hmm.
Chicken nachos with like sour cream and all kinds of other stuff on there that
right.
probably was not the healthiest thing to eat. But that's just an example. And I do try to, about 4 or 5 years ago when I was living up in Boston, my cholesterol level was through the roof. And I got to tell you, the medical staff up in Boston is on the next level.
Yeah.
They're very detail oriented. So they'll let you know exactly what's going on with you and how to fix it. And for a while there, for about 6 months or so, I did it. I stopped drinking sweet tea, and they advised me to drink other things.
Okay.
And I did it. It was a change. And I know I'm capable of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I moved back down here to the South, you have so many more options of junk food and sugar.
Absolutely.
And everything with butter on it.
Yep.
And that's when I started putting the weight back on, and I started seeing, like, just my cholesterol level and things like that. And there's only so much medication you can take. I mean, it boils down, for me personally, Matt and Jenna, it's all about me just being more accountable for my actions.
Yeah, without a doubt. And so, speaking of starting slow, I look at it. So I immediately think of this tea because you mentioned it a handful of times, and it seems like that's sort of a pain point.
It is.
And so I think a terrible thing to do would just be to get rid of the sweet tea. If I told you, Andy, stop drinking sweet tea, immediately you would you would have this reaction in your brain of like, oh, I don't want to get rid of sweet tea. You know, that's the initial reaction. So rather than saying, I'm going to get rid of it, how about just moderating it? How about, so if you have 3 glasses of sweet tea when we go to trivia, you could do, I'm only going to do 2. Or, see, I'm neurotic and I love going at this like an experiment. What I would do, I would order a glass of sweet tea and then I'd order a glass of water. Mm-hmm. So I know that by the time I got done with that first glass of sweet tea, if I was going to order another glass of sweet tea, I got to finish the glass of water.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know,
I never thought of it like that.
And it like, so that right there, you don't have to give up the sweet tea. You still get to hang out and have your fun. And you have that, most likely, it sounds like you're drinking 3 glasses of something.
Yeah.
You've replaced it with a glass of water. So it's just sort of tweaking it. And it's the same thing with the buffalo wings. So, and one thing at a time, I say, you know, this coming Tuesday, that be your goal. Hey, I'm just going to order a glass of water with my 2 glasses of sweet tea and just see how it is. Yeah. And what's interesting is your body, I feel that your body gets to this state of toxicity that you're not aware of, meaning you live in this environment of like, you know, you might feel run down, you might feel tired, but that's just normal. Whenever we really honed back on our sugar and really started looking at our caloric intake and all that, it's incredible how much different we felt. And I'm sure that you've probably heard that before, but until you experience it, it's night and day. And then once you get over that hump of, I need 3 glasses of sweet tea or I'm gonna lose my mind, you reach this point where you're like, I feel so much better. And when you go back to drinking 3 glasses of sweet tea every day, you feel like garbage.
Yes.
So, you know, it's slowly digging yourself out of that hole. So I think it's simple as that. Have your 2 glasses of sweet tea and then grab a water with it.
Let me ask you something. So I think what Craig and I have decided, and Craig is my very best friend that y'all both met.
Shout out to Craig.
Love
you, buddy.
Phenomenal guy. But he has some issues with his diet also. And we're just going to leave it at that.
Okay.
And he's very conscious of that also.
Mm-hmm.
So what we decided just recently is we are going to order water from now on.
Okay.
And we got the Mios.
There you go.
From Walmart.
There you go.
No calories, no carbohydrates.
There you go.
And we're going to start using that.
Perfect.
So instead of spending $3 to $4 on a drink at a restaurant, so not only do we save a little bit of money each time we go out, but we just order water and we squirt that in there.
There you go.
Then we should be better off. Because when it all boils down to it, it's all about the flavor.
And that's just it. So that's what I was going to say. If you truly enjoy the Mio, then it's game over. You have life hacked this thing. Yes. If you hate the Mio, if it tastes like garbage and you're like, God, that aftertaste is just terrible, you're not going to stick to it. So I'm very interested to see, will you like the flavor? And if you do,
I've done it before.
Well, there you go.
You know, but like I said, when I was up in Boston, that's what I did.
Okay.
And then, you know, she suggested, well, if you ever go to Chick-fil-A, instead of getting sweet tea, get the Diet Lemonade.
There you go.
She literally said that out loud. Like, she's like, that's a great option, because you're not, the taste, especially here in the South, it's all about, you know, does it taste good? Then if it does, then yes, we're going to eat it.
Absolutely. Right. That's as much thought that goes into it. That's just the South.
I mean, it's just the way it is. And because I don't get to go out and do a lot of things, and at this moment, I'm not currently employed. Not that I'm bragging or saying that in a bad way, because depending on, you know, where you're at, I have a lot of extra time on my hands. And so people with an extra lot of, you know, especially here in the South, with a lot of extra time on their hands, what do we want to do? We want to sit around and watch TV, and we want to eat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it basically comes down to one concept: eat till you're sleepy and sleep until you're hungry again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I like the way you put that.
And that's basically what a lot of people in the South are. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, because I'm one of those people.
Right.
But, you know, since I started working out, you know, that has really given me, you know, more motivation to say, Andy, you can't just keep doing this 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be the same person. I've done it for pretty much 47 years of my life.
Yeah.
Eating like garbage and being okay with it. My brother, who's a fitness fanatic, he always busts me up about my eating habits. And he really, for decades now, he just kind of rolls his eyes now and just kind of bows his head because he knows it's bad.
Right.
You know? and then he just lets it go. But because he knows that's how I am.
Yeah.
But, you know, like I said, with this new workout that I've been doing has given me more motivation to really say, Andy, you got to get, you know, your diet in line. You got to get your nutrition in line a little bit better.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I came to you.
Yeah.
Because I figured, heck, you know, if I want to know the answer to something, I don't want to look it up on YouTube.
Of course.
I want to hear it from someone who actually knows what they're doing.
Right.
And, you know, we talked about this earlier. Not everybody is the same person. So some people, you know, you may have to motivate a little bit more.
Sure.
Some people aren't. You know, not everybody's gray or white. Everybody has their own certain avenues of fitness and, you know, plans and, you know, things like that. And that's, you know, now that you know me a little bit,
Yeah.
you can say, okay, Andy, I see how you live your lifestyle and I see what you're all about.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can help you moderate that a little bit to where we can make some positive changes in your life through your diet.
Well, and so, you know, you were talking about the Mio and then, you know, you're talking about the gym. And I know Jenna can attest to this, that when you start doing that one small thing, such as the 1 glass of water or the Mio, that started because you're in the gym. So the tea is going to continue. So you started with the gym, it went to the tea, it's going to go to something else. I don't know what it is yet, and you don't know either. But this is going to create a snowball and a snowball and a snowball. And before you know it, you turn around and you're like, holy crap, it's been 6 months. And like my nutrition is, it's totally different. And my overall mindset about it is totally different. So it's truly about the behavior change of that simple little step of, I'm going to keep going to the gym. I'm going to try this Mio thing. You know, it doesn't have to be a massive overhaul of changing everything or doing what you've read in the fitness magazine. I'm eating chicken and broccoli, because that's not how I live my life. That's not how Jenna lives her life. And we're fitness people.
Oh, it's the little changes over time that
It
make
is.
a big difference.
And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some little changes now that will hopefully grow into habits on a daily basis.
So I will tell you also, and I tell everyone this, the best tool that I have for nutrition is MyFitnessPal. MyFitness, have you heard of it?
I have, admittedly, I have not joined. I'm sorry.
So it's free. It's free. It's MyFitnessPal. It's a calorie and macro counting app. And I just want you to try that for 1 week. And you don't worry about, is it healthy, is it bad, is it whatever. I want you to truly just eat, and then at the end of the day or throughout the day, log it, and then just see. It gives you awareness of, holy crap, I'm eating this much, or I'm eating all of this, or look at that, every Thursday I'm eating this much more calories. It just brings so much awareness and statistical evidence. Is that the right word? It just brings numbers to the food, and it just really opens your eyes. A lot of people don't really realize what a serving size is until they start looking at it in MyFitnessPal.
Especially here in the South, where a serving size is usually...
It's about 6 handfuls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, that's how they measure.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really good education too, as far as like, okay, you add in the burger and then you add in the fries, like, oh my gosh, like maybe eat half of those or whatever the case is.
We try to eat, Craig and I, when we do eat out a lot, we try to eat semi-healthy. Like we love going to Jason's Deli.
Right.
And getting the California Club on wheat.
Right.
With no mayonnaise and the steamed vegetables.
Right.
I mean, yes, we could eat, you know, fries and burgers all the time, but we do love Jason's Deli. We like going to Nukes, and I'll get a Caesar salad with some salmon.
Right.
You know, and I love that. Tastes great.
Yeah.
You know. But then I'll ruin it by drinking 3 or 4 glasses of sweet tea. And that's just me being completely honest with you. I'm Matt, Jenna, I'm too old to lie. So everything that I say from my point of view is the truth. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but I'm just going to say it like I see it. I'm just going to call it.
Well, and so what was sparked in my head just then as you were talking about the salads, because you're not the first person that I've heard say that I do choose the salads when I go here, and I do this and I do that. What's interesting is a lot of store-bought or, those restaurants, the salads actually have sugar in them. If you add up the calories or the actual macro breakdown of it, they are just as heavy as a burger, depending on the salad. But it's pretty preposterous. A salad turns into like a flambe of all sorts of stuff. So again, I think another one of your steps should be that MyFitnessPal and just seeing what you're actually eating.
Yeah, because not all salads are made equally, right? No, so one place might have a salad that's like 300 calories, and some place might have a salad that looks about the same that's like 700 calories, and it's just all that little extras in there. So it's really interesting once you start plugging things into MyFitnessPal, or even just looking at the menu at the the nutrition facts. Yeah. The menus that do have it. It's interesting to see the differences, the discrepancies from one restaurant to another.
Yeah. It seems to me, and just my basic knowledge of what I think is healthy and what is not healthy, you can buy a salad or even go to a salad bar and get a bunch of salad and put it on the plate, and you get cucumbers and tomatoes and onions and, whether it's regular lettuce or Caesar lettuce or whatever. But then you see people put like 3 scoops of ranch dressing on top of it. Yeah. So to me, that kind of negates, why did you get a salad in the first place? Why don't you just eat the burger or the Philly cheesesteak instead?
Yeah. Well, and so anytime I hear somebody say, well, I've been eating healthy, when somebody says I've been eating healthy food, it really does mean I've been eating more nutrient-dense food. So I've been eating more food with vitamins and minerals in them. However, most of the time, people are not really knowing what is in the food, and also not knowing the correct caloric or the correct serving size. And therefore, when you're eating in such a caloric surplus, it's unhealthy.
Yes.
So I mean, you can eat 6 pounds of peaches, which it's got all sorts of vitamins and nutrients in it, but it's not good for you to eat that much. Anything in that much excess is not good. So it's interesting to hear you say that.
Yeah. I guess the old saying is anything and too much of anything is not always a good thing.
There you go. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, again, I wanted this to just be an open conversation. I like it.
I think it's been a good one.
It has been.
As far as so I noticed just in the short time that I've known you and Jenna, that when y'all go out to eat, y'all never, even though you're with us, you're not eating with us. So for myself who doesn't cook, and for someone else who may be out there that was listening, what would you recommend if for someone that eats out? What kind of food would you recommend that they go out to eat?
So the beautiful thing about MyFitnessPal, and I know I keep going back to it, MyFitnessPal actually, it's a database of, it's something ridiculous, like 60,000 different foods. And most places you can pull up, like any chain restaurant, you're going to be able to pull it up. And depending on whatever that person's goal was, I would say, be shooting for your caloric maintenance, and you got to figure all that out.
Okay.
But I would try to shoot for as whole of food as I possibly could. So yeah, the salads are great. The question is what's coming on them. They're probably going to have some sort of chicken meal. The question is, what's it being cooked in? Yeah. Really and truly, if I were in someone's shoes and I went out to a restaurant and I had to eat, and I was in a time of where I was really strict, I would say I would shoot for a meal with a lean protein, with a vegetable, and then a moderate amount of some sort of carbohydrate.
So like chicken or fish.
So chicken or fish or beef.
steamed vegetables, and then like rice,
quinoa. I guess what I would shoot for is as whole as possible and grilled if possible, blackened if possible, staying away from fried. If you're looking for the most healthy option. Yeah.
And then drinking like, the Mios.
There you go.
So something that's grilled with steamed vegetables.
Exactly.
Nothing fried. And would you say, Matt, as far as like portion control, I try to help control some of my cravings. When I start to feel full, I don't try to force it just because there's something left on the plate.
Yeah.
And I'm not great with leftovers, so I'll just stop eating.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I start to feel full, I just stop eating. I don't order dessert. I don't try to say, "Oh yeah, that looks great.
Yeah.
Let me take a second portion of that."
Yeah.
And I don't drink very often, hardly ever. So that's kind of what, portion control has always been something that I know for certain. The less you eat, if you're trying to maintain a certain weight, because not that I feel that I'm overweight. I'm about 180, 182. I kind of fluctuate. When I started working out, I think I put on a little bit of mass due to working out.
And how tall are you?
I am approximately 5'8" and a half, 5'9", so about 180 pounds. But, for me, with my lack of mobility, everything that I have a tendency to eat usually shows up in my waistline, believe it or not.
Sure.
And some people say, "Oh, you don't look fat." I said, but I don't always feel like I'm skinny either. So I don't know if that's a bad thing or not, but that's how I feel.
Yeah.
And that's the main reason I came to you, because if I could maybe, adjust my diet to maybe where I could lose 5 to 10 pounds. And I know that doesn't sound like much, but when you have to carry the weight around like I have to,
absolutely,
it makes a difference.
Yep.
So if I could lose, a few pounds here or there and just adjust my diet.
Yep.
How you would like me to, or help me do.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I would be so grateful for that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? As far as just making sure, if I could but I need to start. I'm the kind of person, like I said, I need to start something slow.
Yeah.
And kind of build up to it. Start to see results, just like when I was working out.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, it's become a habit.
Yeah.
And so 5 years from now, Matt, if we're sitting around at the same table, and I can say, man, I haven't had a sweet tea in like 3 months.
There you go.
That'd be awesome.
It's those little habits. That's exactly what it is.
I had to start slow to get to the point to where I'm not going to backslide.
Yeah.
2 months down the road.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking to start something and see it gradually grow into a habit forming thing to where I don't even really think about it anymore.
Exactly. And the quickest way to backslide or, quote unquote, gain all the weight back is to start slashing everything out hardcore and taking on those numerous things if you're not that personality type.
Too much too fast. And you're not going to stick to it.
Exactly.
I just think your body craves certain things. And when you take it away like that, all of a sudden you're going to go into, I think your body's going to go into shock. I think mine will.
Yeah, absolutely. So. I mean, it's, the leptin and ghrelin levels, what controls, your hunger and your satiety. Those are your satiety and your hunger sensation. And then, food and your food and chemical levels, it's hormones. So it's much more scientific than just saying, "Oh man, I got a sweet tooth." There's real science behind it.
Yeah, it's a physical thing. It's also a mental game too of like, oh, I can't have a second or third sweet tea or whatever. I can't have that. And then it gets into your brain of, well, now you want it more because you can't have it.
That's true. Sounds like my parents when I was a kid. They would tell you not to do something and you would do it just to spite them.
Well, yeah, man, I appreciate it. I guess we'll wrap up here, but I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you having the courage to hop on these mics and talk about some vulnerable pieces. And throughout our friendship, our relationship, I'd love to help you moving forward.
I appreciate that, Matt. And
absolutely.
I'm sorry if I was a little long-winded. sometimes if when I get a thought in my head, if I don't hurry up and say what I need to say, I'll forget it. And
you sound like you have ADD like myself.
We're two of the worst of starting a conversation and never knowing, like, well, what was the original question or what was the original subject? But I think some of the takeaways from here are slow, sustainable changes.
Yep.
Identify just one thing that you can change at a time and not doing too much at once. And then making sure that you're continuing to do the things that you enjoy.
Yes.
Just altering them a little bit to be more towards a healthy lifestyle.
There you go.
But still enjoying your life and still doing the things that you enjoy, just tweaking it a little bit to, adjust to your new, healthier lifestyle.
I really appreciate, y'all let me come on here and just talk about things, and hopefully someone out there will gain a little bit of knowledge and maybe a little perspective from this talk.
Absolutely.
I think so.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
again, I appreciate you being on, man. Jenna, you got anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, guys, we'll talk to you next week. Also, remember, leaving a review up until October 16th, dropping me an email at
Of 2019.
Of 2019, thank you. October 16th, 2019, leaving that review and shooting me an email at MattLaneFitness@gmail.com saying something to the effect of, hey, I left a review. I'll go check it out, and I will shoot you a shirt for free. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you guys next week.
This has been the Better Than Yesterday Everyday Podcast. We want to thank you for listening and invite you to subscribe to the show as well. And follow Matt Lane Fitness on YouTube. Until next time, you don't have to be perfect. Just be better than yesterday every day.